Hey there everybody, it's Mike DiLisio, and today I'm here to do my very first Dice Tower preview. Now, you may be asking yourself, why is Mike doing a preview for the Dice Tower? Well, look, I'll tell you, there's a very specific reason, and that is because the game I'm previewing today is called CoraQuest. And CoraQuest was designed by one of my favorite people on the planet, Cora Hughes. Now, to be fair, she had a little bit of help from her father, Dan Hughes. But primarily, this was a project that Dan and Cora worked on during the pandemic when the homeschooling was the order of the day. And for one of their homeschooling projects, they decided that they were going to work on a game together that incorporated different elements that would be helpful for her in her studies, things like math and language and probabilities. And through the course of working on this game, it turned into something that was pretty special. And so, what is it at heart? It is a dungeon crawler for the whole family with a huge amount of customizable options. So let's just take a few moments. We'll head over to the table. I'll kind of show you how the game works, and then I'm going to come back here and I'm going to talk to you more about what sets this game apart. CoraQuest is a dungeon crawl game where 4 heroes are going to explore a dungeon, fight monsters, and ultimately try to complete a quest. In this case, we've got our 4 starting heroes, the dwarf, the crossbow dude, the spear woman, and sword girl, all standing in the entrance tile. Now, we could have chosen instead to have wizard woman come in, or the halfling, or perhaps we could have created our own character like handsome Prince Solo here, and he could have come into that dungeon as well. We'll talk more about that later on. However, in CoraQuest, we are going to be trying to solve some type of quest, and in this case, we're going to be showing you Fangs for the Memories. Now, I'm not going through a whole playthrough, but just for the sake of example here, I'm going to be talking about Fangs for the Memories. I also do want to point out that everything that you're looking at here are prototype components. They are not exactly as they're going to appear in the final version. For example, the standees are going to be contoured in the final version, whereas here they're just in rectangular form. All right, so this story has a prologue, and I'm going to read it out for you here. Wizard Pebble Dash calls you over. He looks very worried. My gnome assistants, Kevin and Annabelle, went into Hoodie's dungeon to look for a new pet, he tells you. But it's nearly bedtime and they are still not home. They aren't very good assistants, he says, and they never clean my spoon collection properly. But I'm quite fond of them, really, and I'd hate for them to be in any danger. Could you find them for me? I'll give you a bag of gold each if you do. You decide that you will help Wizard Pebble Dash find Kevin and Annabelle. After all, how much trouble could a couple of gnomes have gotten themselves into? So, that sets the story. Now, you could even create your own story and have other elements that are going to come through, but in the case of this video, let's just go with Fangs for the Memory. So, the game is played over a series of rounds, and each round consists of 3 phases that are played out in order. You've got the hero phase, then the enemy phase, and then the countdown phase. In the hero phase, each hero will take up to 2 full actions and as many free actions as they like. So, for example, let's say that the crossbow dude here is going first, and the first thing he wants to do is explore the dungeon. So, what he does is, since he's on the edge of a tile, he's going to take the top card from the dungeon deck. Right now, there's a token on it, and we're going to put that on his card, and I'll tell you why in a moment. So, he's going to flip over this first dungeon tile. Now this is an interesting one. It's a dead end, but there's a nice treasure chest at the end of this. So he could place it here, he could place it here. Let's just say he places it here, and we're going to put a a treasure token on top of it to denote that one of these heroes can go and check out that treasure and see what's in there. But he decides that he'd also like to explore further and maybe let some of his other friends go and check that treasure out. So he'll go on the next level here. This is a story card. It has story A there. And so we would place this here, and what you're going to do is read the story that is denoted by that. So in this case, we would be saying this. You find an abandoned gnome-sized backpack on the floor. You recognize it as belonging to Annabelle. In the backpack are 3 books. A Spotter's Guide to Vipers by Sir Pent. Reptile Keeping for Fun and Profit by William Snakespeare, and Cobra Catching by David Hisselhoff. There is also a bottle of liquid labeled In Case of Snake Bites. The hero who uncovered the dungeon card takes the antidote card from the special item deck. They do not need to be standing on the dungeon card to take this antidote card. So now, Crossbow Dude has this antidote in addition to his starting item, which is a crossbow. All right, so those were both free actions. He hasn't taken any of his main actions. So let's say he starts to move as his main action. He has up to 4 movement, which shows you here. All of these have stats for their health, their movement, some dice that they're going to be rolling, their starting equipment, and a special ability. Every one of these heroes have a special ability. And this one says if you don't move on your turn, you can have 3 actions instead of 2. Well, he's not going to be using that special ability because he did move. Now he might want to explore again. He's feeling, uh-oh, here we've got some monsters. All right, so we see here we have 2 monster symbols, and they correspond to some monsters that are up here. In this case, we've got 2 orcs that we have to deal with. You can see that corresponding symbol up there. It shows you their stats, their health, their movement, the dice they roll, and the range that they have to be in to attack. So we take 2 of these orc standees and we place them right there. All right, now, at this point, the crossbow dude can keep moving because you can interrupt your move action. He's only moved 1. He can go 2, 3, and explore more if he wanted to. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that he's going to want to move here. He had 1, 2, 3, and he's going to attack for his second action. He's going to try to shoot that orc with his crossbow. He is in range. You can see he has a range of 6, and he is within range. And so what he's going to do is then roll some dice. You look at his card here, and he shows a red die, and his crossbow has a white die. So what you're going to do is roll those 2 dice together and hope to get some hits. These symbols are hits, blanks are misses. That orc takes 3 damage. Uh-oh. I did what I typically do, which is I rolled 2 blanks. Now that's not good. That can be disappointing. However, in CoraQuest, anytime that you roll 2 blanks, or however many you're rolling, all blanks, now that makes you determined. You flip it over to the determined side, and now you're rolling a red, a white, and if you used your crossbow, another white. And so you've made yourself much more powerful. Once you are on your determined side, as soon as you get a hit, you'd flip back over to your regular side. But in this case, Crossbow Dude, although he missed, he's determined that on his next turn, he's going to get some orc taken care of. All right? So that would be his he moved and attacked. And so then the other heroes can go, perhaps Spear Woman can go up here, and she could search the treasure and find a heavy crossbow that she now has at her disposal. And you would move along through all 4 of the heroes. Perhaps one of these orcs would be defeated, perhaps not. Let's say, for example, then, that the heroes have all gone in order, and now it's the enemy's turn. What they're going to do is they're going to take 2 actions as well. If they are next to somebody or in range of somebody to attack, they will do that. However, in this case, the orc is not. So he would move 1, 2 to get in range of my crossbow dude here, and he would be rolling 2 red dice, and he hits for 1. So I would take this wound token and put it on me. If you wound the monsters, you put those wound tokens next to them. Okay? So we would go like this, where we would take our turns, the enemies would take their turns. Now, we would go to the countdown phase. Let's say, for example, that at one point, the dwarf here had taken his special action and he moved an attack for just 1 action. Let's say he's the one that had taken out that orc. He had moved here and attacked. To be able to do that special ability, he has to take his token here and place it at the top of the cooldown track. Anytime you use your special action, you place your token at the top of the cooldown track. During the cooldown phase, a couple of things happen. First of all, you're going to move the hero tokens down 1. So he's not going to be able to use his special ability on the next round, but that following round when it comes off, he'll be able to use it then. The other thing that's going to happen is you're going to check and see if any of the cards had been revealed. So any of the dungeon tiles have been revealed. In the case of this round, Crossbow Dude has this token in front of him which shows that yes, dungeon tiles had been revealed. And so what you would do is just place that token right back there and nothing else would occur. However, if dungeon tiles had not been revealed and heroes had just been kind of running around their already explored area of the dungeon, what's going to happen is this threat token here is going to move down. And if it ever is to come off, now you've got these spiders, hello, hello, that are going to be coming out of the depths and populating the dungeon wherever you would find some cobwebs. And so this is a way to kind of ramp up the tension. And so you can't just sit in one space and build up your strength and get a bunch of treasure. You really do have to keep moving, keep exploring the dungeon. The game is going to go like this, revealing dungeon tiles, collecting treasure, facing and fighting enemies, and going through different story elements by finding the story cards, which have been semi-randomly seeded throughout this deck during setup, until hopefully finally you're facing off against the big bad. In this case, it would be the big snake, and this would be incorporated into the story elements as well. And hopefully you can defeat that big snake before two of your heroes get defeated, which would be a loss condition. So that, generally speaking, is CoraQuest in a nutshell. There's a bit more, but this is the basic idea of the game. Okay, so hopefully you have a pretty good idea on how CoraQuest plays now, and I think you can start to see what makes it so special. This game had an amazing beginning. This was a father and daughter starting with a homeschooling project, and it has blossomed and grown into this really special game that you see here today that you can be a part of. It's something that has had a lot of contributions from children all over the world through their art being submitted. And so, as you can see, the game is one where children have submitted their own art. It has then been kind of spruced up and colored in a little bit by their chief artist, Gary King, and it really has such a unique and special feel when you see it on the table. You can really feel the spirit of the children coming through in their artwork, and it just changes how you feel when you're interacting with these game pieces, when you know that they came from the minds and the hearts of children. Really a special thing. Another thing that I think makes CoraQuest stand apart is the customizable element of it. This is a game that really encourages creativity. If you just want to play with the base game, with the components that are within it, as you can see here, it's going to be a great experience. It's something that is going to be enjoyable and fulfilling, and you're going to have that dungeon crawl experience that the whole family can enjoy. However, if you would like to make it more of something that you put something into, it's very easy to do that. You can put up your own artwork. There's a customizable web app that allows you to upload your own photos, move them around, play around with them. You can use some provided templates to give them the different powers, the different abilities, the different statistics, or you can make them your own. And so this is just a really special aspect of this project and something that I think makes it stand apart. Okay, here we have our web app. We're going to create our character and customize it to our specifications. So here's a file that I've got of someone that may look a little bit familiar. It's my dice guy, so I can position him around, move him to such a way that it looks nice in the little crest there. I think that looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that, so I can click forward. Now, I had Sir Solo as an idea for the name of this character, but then I thought, no, maybe I won't call him Sir Solo. Maybe he looks a little more regal than that. Oh, there, yeah, Prince Solo. Well, Solo, there we go. Prince Solo, yeah, I like that. And there are different things that you can do. I have like a custom ability here. If I'm alone in a dungeon tile or a room, I can add a hit. I could have changed it to add 2 hits, but that might be too powerful. So yeah, let's just add 1 hit to our attack total. So it's easy to change those around. You can change around the name of your weapons. You can go with a non-custom weapon. So this is just a really easy way to kind of, let's make it a slingshot. I like that better. Well, we'll make it a slingshot. So once you've got it all set up, it'll just get it all ready for you to print. You can get your character with both sides ready and your standee. You simply go ahead and you get it to print. You send it to your printer, and then it's ready to go. You just do a little bit of cutting and here we go. Look, how's this going to come out? Would you look at that? That is a fantastic looking character. There is Prince Solo all ready to go. So in addition to the customizable artwork, you can also customize the storytelling elements. And that's a really unique aspect of the game as well. Included within the game are produced stories, that you can play those and have a wonderful experience just with what's inside the base box. However, if you or your children like to tell stories, there's a really easy and elegant way to incorporate those stories into your own games. And so you can kind of use the stories that you've seen before as guideposts on how to make your own and create your own story cards to create a unique and personalized adventure to you, something that means something to you and the rest of your family. It's a really great element of the game. Here you see the community page on CoraQuest.com, the website dedicated to all things CoraQuest. And here you can see some people have already submitted different quests that they've come up with on their own. So for example, here you look at Marcus Brisman has submitted something, and he's got his own quest and story with special setup and rules that go along with the game, the goal, and all of the different elements that are read. The prologue before you begin the adventure, and what you read once you come across those dungeon cards that are interspersed throughout the game. And so you can see that just through something like this, you can create your own adventures using the components that come in the base box. It's a really neat thing to get your family involved in creating their own stories. And if you take a look at the CoraQuest page, you'll see a number of different contributors that have put in their own ideas, including Jerry Hawthorne, designer of Mice and Mystics and Stuffed Fables, amongst many others. And he created some of his own characters and items that to show off his distinctive flair and style. So this is a way for different people to bring in their own ideas and share it with the community. So I think you can start to see why CoraQuest is such a special project. A really interesting beginning to this with a father and daughter and their homeschooling project that has blossomed and grown into the game you see here today. Community involvement and children sending in their pictures and artwork to create their own heroes and enemies. The fact that you can do this at home as well with your own children, create your own heroes and enemies, and your entire stories that you can incorporate into the game as well. That's something that's really unique and special. On top of it, it's a really solid game with rock-solid mechanics that are familiar but also incorporate such special and unique elements to make CoraQuest the game it is today. I really think it's something that you should check out if you like cooperative games, if you've got families that like to work together, if you have storytelling people in your family that love to tell a story. CoraQuest is just a special, special project. It's something that I think you can see the joy and love that went into it in the finished product, and I really hope it's something that you check out on Kickstarter. I think it's really something special. Well, thank you so much for your time as always, and have a great day.